Hi Ann, this is Brecken, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the MindTap for statistics for the behavioral sciences. To get started, I'm just going to log into my Nelson account. You should have access credentials. If you forget what they are, let me know and I can pass them along for you. But I'll get signed in. And it will take me to my dashboard. And I'm seeing the Graviter book is already loaded here. And if I scroll down, I'll see some MindTap materials as well. So I've created a handful of courses, but I've created one specific course just to show you here today. Come fall, if you do want to use MindTap, we can actually create a course for you. You can create it, or I can help you create it. It's really easy to do. You just select this green link, create course, create a new course. You can then give your course a name. You can set the start date and the end date, and create your course. And it's as easy as that. Once you complete those tasks, it'll be loaded here under your courses, and you'll have some instructions to hand out for your students or to post in Moodle for your students, just so they know how to connect with your particular course. So I'm going to open up this little course that I already made, this demo course, and it's going to launch me into MindTap. And we're in MindTap. So what you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen, we call it the learning path. Essentially, it's the table of contents for the book. So you'll see the different chapters listed here. We can actually drill into those chapters. So if I select chapter 4, variability, I'm going to see all the electronic materials that are available for that chapter. Each chapter has the same basic set of electronic materials. So in each case, you're going to see the same basic breakdown. I'll show you more about the learning path here in a minute. I'll jump over to the activity scores. So here you're going to see a week-by-week view of how your students are doing in the course. You're going to get the aggregate view. It's going to be plotted. So if they're working on assignments each week, or if you're assigning activities for them each week, you're going to see how they're doing as a whole. So you'll be able to see where they're strong and where they're weak. Those will be plotted week by week over the course of the semester. When students log into MindTap, they see the same basic screen. They, however, see their own activity scores here, so they would see how they're doing on a week-by-week basis. And then over here on the right-hand side of the screen, we have our different learning apps. So these are meant to look like the apps that they would have on their iPhones or on their Android devices, but essentially we can select any of these apps. In this case, I'm going to select the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, and we can look up any word on the spot. I'm going to look up statistics, and we get our instant definition there. I can, again, show you a bit more about these here in a few minutes. But I'm going to jump back over to the learning path. And I'm going to jump into Chapter 2. I'm going to show you what's in here for Chapter 2 and what's probably most relevant for you if you do want to use MindTap in the fall. So if I select frequency distributions, it's going to open up these resources for me. So these are all automatically posted for students. What you can do is you can set due dates on them. So you'll see here that I set a due date for the Chapter 2 reading, which is going to be due on August 4th. And I set a due date on the Chapter 2 problem set, which is also going to be due on August 4th. I'll take you down all the materials here and just explain what they are. So to start, there's just a mastery training exercise. So that's meant to get the students' wheels turning, just an introduction to the chapter. They're then going to work through the actual reading. If I actually open that up, we'll get to see the interactive ebook. Students are welcome to use only MindTap. They get everything they need. However, we understand that students also at times like to use hard copies, so they can also use them in combination. But otherwise, everything in here, word for word, in the ebook is what you'll see in the hard copy textbook. Like I said, that. We have the end of chapter problems. So those are what you're seeing in the actual hard copy textbook. Here we're just getting the electronic format of those for students. So if you want to assign those, you absolutely can. I'm going to exit that. You'll see that this doesn't have a due date on it. whereas the reading and this problem set does. If that is something you want to assign for students, you can very easily edit it and set a due date for students right there. So the other activities in this chapter, I had set August 4th as the due date, if I'm not mistaken. So I can very easily just select chapter 4, or sorry, August 4th there as the due date. I can then save it, and you'll see there that it's going to be due on August 4th. You'll also see that it's set as a practice activity, while that's set as a graded activity. If I want to adjust that to a graded activity, I can very easily do that right there. I'll keep working down. So here they have a problem set. So this is what most professors would assign for grades. So I know there have been instructors that have taken 10 or 15 or 20% of the course grade, and they've assigned it to these specific problem sets. So whether you're teaching 2021 or 2022 or 2020, it depends kind of what sections of the book you're using, but if you're covering 12 chapters or 20 chapters over the course of the semester, then it's conceivable that you could assign, a problem set for each of the chapters. They exist for, if I jump back over to the main table of contents, you get a problem set for every single chapter. I guess there are 18 chapters here. So you can, in theory, assign 18 of them. As well, you can also assign the end of chapter problems. But I'm going to open up that problem set, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So we're going to see the different activities here in the problem set. There are 13 of them, and students get 3 attempts at each activity. So you can see by the titles what exactly we're working with. And if I drill into any one of those, then we're going to get the actual questions. So these are all algorithmic. So students are being tested on the same concepts, but the questions and answers are being scrambled. So every student will get a different experience here with the options they have available for them. Again, every student that selects engagement activity frequency distributions, they'll get the same overall experience and they'll be tested on the same concepts, but they can't sit beside one another and just copy each other because they're all going to get different values here. So this is just a fairly simple multiple choice starter. And I probably should have done the exercise before I started completing the answers. But the idea is you complete the exercise and then you would grade it. Students get explanations if they want. You can also set it up so they just get feedback. The idea is that because they're getting 3 chances to do it, that they can get some feedback and better prepare themselves to answer it correctly the next time. Otherwise, students just keep working through these different activities. Again, they get 3 attempts for each, so they can also try another version here on the spot and go for their second attempt. But otherwise, I'll sift through a couple more of these just to show you what they look like, because the first one's just that multiple choice. But you're also going to see some matching, you're going to see some drop downs, and you're going to see some, we call them leading questions, but they're kind of like fill in the blank questions. The only difference is it actually kind of leads them towards the answer, just so their spelling and things like that aren't necessarily being graded, or they're not being penalized for bad spelling. So again, here's just another example of an exercise here. They're just going to be filling in the blanks with their correct values. And I should be spending a lot more time on this. But as students work through the question, they select their answers. And then they can have it graded on the spot. And I didn't do very well that time. Didn't do very well at all, in fact. I got 0 out of 12. So I'd probably want to try another version. And I can do that from try another version. Right now it's set up for average, so that means that students will be graded on their average of the 3 attempts. You can change that to the best of 3 attempts, to the kind of last attempt. However you want to set it up, you can do it. Otherwise, though, I'd encourage you to get into your own account and kind of work through some of these or take a look at them. They're pretty interesting. I think they're pretty engaging for students. So they're not just your typical kind of testing questions. They're a bit more interactive and they're a bit more engaging. And again, they're all algorithmic, so every student gets a unique experience. And then lastly, there's an exam. That's just a multiple choice quiz, I believe, for students. I shouldn't say quiz, but a multiple choice kind of closing exam for students. These generally aren't given to students as high stakes assessments or kind of put towards that 10 or 15% of the grade. But you're certainly welcome to do that. The reason I say they're not kind of always put towards the grade is because they're generally just basic multiple choice ones, these exam exercises. So a lot of instructors just use these for practice. But I think you'll get the idea. So what you'll also see, so again, I put the due dates on these exercises here. What I didn't show you are the different views we have right here. So right now I'm in the unit view. I can also jump over to the week view. So this is where I, as a student, or you as the instructor, can see what's due on a weekly basis. So this week on Friday, I have a reading and I have a problem set due. Those are both of the things that I assigned earlier. If I keep working through the semester, I'll see the next week on August 4th, I have those 3 exercises due. So if you recall, I added a due date to the end of chapter problems in chapter 2. Because I did that, we're now seeing it populated here in the weekly view. And if I keep working through, I'll see what's due and when it's due. The idea is that students will complete these assignments and they'll then be populated in your gradebook over here on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'll open this up. And we're not seeing any students in this course because none are loaded. You can actually open up sample reports to see some kind of basic examples of what the gradebook would look like. But you'll get your entire student roster. You'll see how they're doing on each assignment. You'll see how much time they've spent on each assignment. With the analytics, you can actually see how active they are when they're in here. So if they're opening up MindTap and then they're opening up Facebook in another window and not actually working around in MindTap, then you'll kind of be able to see their low engagement or their low activity in here. But there are a lot of different metrics to work from in the gradebook. And there's a lot for you as the instructor to kind of assess and pay attention to. Otherwise, that's the basic breakdown of MindTap. So again, we have our basic learning path here. We have all of these resources posted for each chapter, and you can assign or lead students toward any of these exercises in here or any of these resources. You can choose what you want them to be assessed on, or they're just welcome to work in here at their own pace. So I'm hoping this just gives you a basic breakdown of what MindTap is. If you have any other questions, then let me know. We can also connect when you get back from your trip. Before I end it, I'll also I said that I'd show you what some of the apps are here down the right-hand side of the screen. I'll just kind of highlight a few of the cool ones. So there's a search function. This is basically just a searchable index, so students can search any term from the book, and they'll get any reference to Z scores in the entire Gravity book. So you can see there are some video examples here. There's an actual, right from the text, that example there. There's the glossary definition. And again, these are all linked, so students can actually select any of these, and it'll take them to that exact spot in the book, as you can see here. What's also cool, so they have the full ebook if they want. So before, when we were working from the learning path, we saw each chapter isolated. If they want to look at the ebook start through finish, they can open that up here, and they'll get essentially that PDF version of the ebook that they can work through. Also cool, they have a read speaker, so if students want to have the text read to them, it's essentially the audio feature, so they can have every word of the book read to them if they wish. They can manage that here from the read speaker app. So this is just where you can adjust the pace and adjust the voice. And then a few more, so we have some flashcards. Those are great for students to practice with. And if I expand the dock, the last one I'll show you, so Applia, that's just the quizzing app. So those problem sets that I was showing you earlier, this is where you get a bird's eye view on all those different quizzes. So that's just where you get all the quizzes available here, kind of in one place, again, to get that bird's eye view. Okay, well, that's a basic crash course. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and feel free to connect with me at any point. Thanks.